Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Recovery Inspired Hope. I am here today with my friend Daniel, and we are at the very, very famous Rise Up Recovery out here in Gwinnett County in Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Now, Daniel, tell us a little bit about you first before we get into this awesome place. You guys, I'm telling you right now, if you have not come out here to see what this place is like, it will blow your mind. It really will. I was thoroughly impressed coming in. Like, is this for real a recovery? This is a recovery residence? This is amazing. So, really, you did such an amazing job. Truly shows a spirit of excellence.
Thank you.
In recovery. So, just wanted to say that.
Well, I appreciate it.
So, go ahead, Daniel. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 34.
Okay.
Born and raised in Connecticut, moved to Georgia in 2012.
He's from New England, too. Shout out 603 Clothing Line. My friend Erica sent me this. 603 Clothing Line supports recovery, and we appreciate you.
Yes, I want one too. But yeah, so born in Connecticut, moved to Georgia in 2012. Man, I guess I've struggled with addiction for many years. My first experience in rehab treatment was 2006. And it was a very interesting experience. The first time I was surrounded by people that were trying to get better, that I recognized that were also like me. I felt safe in that environment, but that really was just the very beginning of my story.
I really like how you said that you recognize even that early, like, hey, these people are like me and I feel safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know when I first came into treatment, like my first couple detoxes, I did not think I was anything like those people.
Yeah.
And I surely didn't feel safe.
So my birthday is on Christmas in this treatment center. So this treatment center was in Middletown, Connecticut, where I was born and raised. And my birthday being on Christmas, they gave me a 24-hour pass. I'm sure many people watching have been in rehab for their birthday. So my first experience in rehab, I was in rehab for my birthday. They gave me a 24-hour pass. I decided not to keep the pass because I mentioned being safe. I wanted to go back to that environment.
Right.
So yeah, I felt that comfort, that safety being in that environment. Unfortunately, I had to go through some things to get where I'm at today. But
so that was just a stepping stone to your journey, right?
Many more stepping stones, indeed. Yeah.
So did you find recovery in Connecticut or was it here?
I mean, there was recovery definitely in Connecticut. I would say seeds were planted. I had been in and out of treatment and halfway houses. Never had any significant recovery. But in and out of 12-step programs and sponsors and things like that.
So 12-step kind of was like your pathway?
Yes, yeah. And I would claim that as my pathway today.
Cool.
Yeah. But moved down in 2012, new slate. Mom and dad sold their house in Connecticut. My sister's been in Georgia for a very long time. She has two little boys, and mom and dad want to be grandma and grandpa.
Nice.
So it was the opportunity for me to come down to Georgia and start fresh.
Geographical change
will cure everything.
It always did for me.
Right, yeah. I just need to put myself in a new environment. And
right.
I mean, it seemed like a good idea at the time. I've heard that phrase before. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I guess I did okay, besides the fact that I was using up until the day that we left. I did okay for a few months before I found myself on Google, where to find drugs in Atlanta.
You can Google that?
I mean, in 2012 it worked. I don't recommend it, but it worked in 2012.
You can really find anything on Google.
Yes, it's true. But yeah, that was just the start of everything tumbling. I have this significant memory in 2014, going up to Kentucky to see my youngest cousin, or one of my cousins, graduate college. from the University of Kentucky, and it should have been a happy, momentous moment of her succeeding and going into the real world and having a career. We should be happy for her. And I was just like miserable. I'm thinking, here I am, whatever, almost 30 years old, and have nothing. I've accomplished nothing in my life. And came back and just went deep down into a spiral. And that spiral is eventually what led me to finding, I guess you could say, my bottom and really being ready.
Yeah. And then so that spiral is kind of like what happened where you decided, hey, I need to do something different.
Yeah. So when I came back from Kentucky, I just was heavily involved in my use, in my addiction, and ended up going to good old South Florida in the summer of 2014. Went to treatment there for about 30 days, and was like, I'm good. I can come back. I need to go back to work. I worked at AT&T at the time. I thought it was like really important, and like I have to get back to work. My life is,
And you're cured now.
Yeah, I live with my parents. But anyways, I came back to Georgia, and mom and dad were like, you can't live with us anymore. And I shouldn't. I mean, I'm 28, 29 at the time.
Right.
So I mean, it would be time to move on. And about dang time, mom and dad say like, we're not enabling you anymore.
Yeah.
And that's really like where things began to change. It just so happened that the person that I moved in with someone, and the next door neighbor just so happened to share, similar hobbies, as in doing drugs.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I can relate. That happened to me before too. Geographical change, moved from Florida to Georgia, new slate, ready to start fresh. Happened to move next door to a crack dealer. Oh.
Yeah. I mean, and I guess at the time you don't think of it, but I mean, in a way, it's God was working in my life to push me closer to where I needed to be. So that brought me to another point where I hit my knees and boom, back to South Florida. Nothing against South Florida, but like thank God for South Florida, because it like really brought me to a point where I knew like I was done. So I was in South Florida from October of 2014 to February 2000.
What part?
I was in South Florida, so I was in Boca, Delray, Lake Worth, West Palm. I did the whole the Florida shuffle.
Were you just in one treatment center there?
No.
In several. Now,
oh yes.
Is it true about that they like to shuffle people into different treatment centers? Now I've heard that about Florida, that they have, especially like the Boca area.
I mean, I know since that time they have cleaned up their act, and Florida's cracked down, and only the best remain. But I had experience of being, I guess what you could say, taken advantage of.
Right. They call it body brokering.
Body brokering, client brokering. When a guy from looks like he's from New Jersey, Jersey Shore, approaches you and he's like, "Hey man, like I'll pay you to go to treatment, or I'll get you how to go to treatment." I mean, somebody who is looking for money to get high, like how do you say no to that? So I experienced that, and of course, like I jumped right on board. But yeah, it was just madness. I look at Florida as the Wild Wild West. I don't know, I remember being outside of an outpatient program and standing there, and I just started crying, bawling my eyes out. And it's not that I didn't have anything. I mean, I had my truck. I was still able to like rack up debt on my credit card.
Right.
But like I felt myself never seeing my family again and not going anywhere. That, if you're, for those that are 12 steps, it talks about, having that fork in the road. Like, do I, go on to the very end? Do I commit to this lifestyle of being a heroin junkie?
Right.
Or do I commit to living a new life? And I knew.
I love that. I love how you said that.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the only thing I knew for sure was that like I did not want to live that junkie lifestyle. I was pretty confident that I didn't want to do anything else. Like I didn't want to do any work. I just wanted to be lazy.
Right.
But like I didn't want the hell that came from addiction. And that led me into one last detox, which led me into one last treatment center, and I'll give them a plug, Bluff Plantation, which I was just up there this weekend for their alumni weekend. It was awesome. So yeah, on February 22nd, 2015, I entered treatment for the last time. My sober date is February 23rd, 2015.
Yay.
So in August 23rd, I'll have 6.5 years.
Wow, that is so awesome. Wow, you have such a great story.
Thank you.
That's great. And we'll make sure that we shout out Bluff. Tell us again.
Bluff Plantation. It's in Augusta, Georgia. Bluff
Plantation in Augusta. We'll put the little link in there so you guys can check out Bluff Plantation too. And so, how did you come up with this amazing recovery residence here?
That's a good question. Magic.
I believe it.
Yeah.
It looks magical.
I'm a magician, everybody. No. So, okay, I remember the day that I've been in a place like this. A place like this is what saved my life. You know, of course, treatment was very key on that path of getting me started, and a lot of it is the mindset. And how do you tell when someone's ready? I don't know. It's internal. But like I had mentioned before, I knew that I was done. I just knew. I wasn't very committed to like making a whole lot of change, but I knew that I did not want to go back. I remember it was Thursday, March 26, 2015. I arrived to the recovery residence. That changed my life. It changed my life. It put me around men that were at the same stage in life that I was, that were looking to change their life. You know, the men that are in my life today are the men that I went through sober living. It afforded me to create and build new relationships and sustain those relationships. My best friends today are the guys that were in sober living. I know it's amazing. My goal going into this was to create the similar experience that I had when I went through sober living. I mean, I had so much fun, and of course there was times where like, fuck this place, like I hate it. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on there, but like screw this.
Freedom of speech.
Screw this. Yeah, fuck this place. You know, sometimes I feel like I'm the only guy doing chores, taking out the garbage, whatever, all that silly stuff. But it was life changing. So it was at the 6-month mark. I don't know how much time we have, but we were at the 6-month mark.
You're good. We got great editing software.
Yes. We're going to edit that out too. At the 6-month mark, I got a new sponsor. And that's when things started clicking, and a passion, I guess you could say, was ignited to want to give back. I never knew what it was going to look like. I always had an idea. I was like, man, it would be cool to, you know, sell people for treatment. Like that's what I thought it was, right? Like you get people to treatment and you get a commission. That's what I thought it was. It's not that. Don't do that. It's bad.
We don't.
Yeah, we encourage ethical practices here. But yeah, that sponsor, who is one of my best friends today, big shout out to Mason Clements. Yeah, that man changed my life so much. But he inspired me and helped me to believe in myself that I could maybe one day do something like this. I knew from the beginning that if I ever were to open up a recovery residence, that the name would be Rise Up Recovery. I just love the name. We're in Atlanta. Like it just makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
And look at my wicked logo. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I want one of those.
Yes. We'll get you one. Ended up getting a job at Home Depot. Worked a regular job for 2.5 years, and then you know and eventually moved out of sober living. I was in sober living for 1.5 years, and then had the opportunity to work in a sober living. I became the program director of a sober living in Fulton County, and I did that for 2 years.
In Fulton County, and what was that like?
It was awful.
Yeah.
No, I learned a lot. I remember starting that job And when the first couple of months was like, man, like, I can't believe I ever thought that I wanted to do this.
Yeah.
This is the worst. I hate it. It's awful.
Yeah.
It's stressful. It's a lot of work. I mean, your job is to give yourself
Yeah.
all the time. And it's draining. So never before was a statement of self-care more important. I had people stressing that going into this, like, you need to make sure you take care of yourself. And I have, thankfully. But yeah, I never believed in myself. I'm the guy that, I'm sure I'm the only person that feels this way. No one ever had poor self-esteem issues or self-worth issues, thought that I was ugly or stupid, never good enough, all that. Never believed that I was capable of amounting or achieving anything great. Until I did believe it.
Yeah.
I woke up March 2nd, 2020 in the middle of the night, just after COVID started, and I was like, screw it. Like, it is time to do this.
Yes.
And
look, so many ministries were birthed during COVID.
Yeah.
Like, so many people were like complaining that life was terrible, and I know so many people, myself included, with this show, just birthing ministries out and great things happening during COVID.
COVID was, I mean, it was awful, but it was a blessing for sure. Yeah, so woke up April 2nd, it's like, I'm doing this. And then the very next day, I filed the LLC, started working on the website. July 2nd, Rise Up Recovery opens its doors. I mean, it gives me chills talking about it. I mean, what, for someone like me who never believed that I could do anything, to do that and that quickly, I mean, it's proof that, like, I can do anything.
Yeah.
I can make anything happen. I mean, maybe not anything. Like, I'm not going to be an astronaut. Probably not going to be a firefighter or a UFC fighter. But, like, I mean, if I put forth the effort, like, I can do it. I didn't do it on my own. I asked for a lot of help. I leaned on people that had experience in this. And that's why I've been able to succeed.
And also with the backing Georgia Council as well, right? Because you're a CARES.
Shout out Georgia Council. Shout out all the CARES. CARES 35.
CARES 32.
Woot woot. CARES 35 is better.
CARES 32, best CARES ever.
Sure. Yeah. We're not gonna get to on a fight on camera. We'll be professional.
Yes, but and it's so amazing. The state of Georgia, I think, is just leading the headway, and we are just the example of what recovery should look like. So I have one more question for you.
Sure.
Okay, so for the person here who might be watching, who is considering recovery and is looking and saying, maybe I can do something different too, what would you tell them?
You can. I mean, oh man, the statement, I keep saying the statement, a lot of statements run through my mind. I'm a little all over the place, but I don't know, I had a long conversation with one of the men in my program, and the realization of this life is so very temporary. Nothing, I don't take any of this stuff with me. And I have nothing to lose. So why not put 100% of myself into everything I do? And that's what you should do too. If you have something that you believe in, that you want to do, that you're passionate about, do it. If you don't know how to do it, like, ask for help. If you fail, like, that's okay. Like, we have to fail. I have to fail sometimes to succeed. I have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. That was a great answer. All right, guys, thank you so much. Make sure you subscribe to Jamie Tall on YouTube, and we will see you next time on Recovery Inspired Hope.